And welcome back to this Bible study of the Gospel of John with Dr. John Pauline. And Dr. Pauline, you said that there are three different types of faith, and I want to just review those again. You said that the first one is an inadequate faith, which is an expression of faith. I say I believe, or at least I act, or...
But because it's focused on miracles, it's really faith in a caricature of what God is like.
Right. But not
God is this kind of heavenly vending machine. You punch a button, you get the candy or
right.
whatever.
But this is not a saving faith.
Right. Because it does not. It's not really directed to the true God.
Okay. Yeah. The second type of faith is a saving faith, which is immature and shallow. And the third type of faith is a full saving faith, is what you call it, which includes the cross.
And the full saving faith comes to grasp that it's not, God is not about working miracles. He's not about power and intimidation and so on, but rather that God is all about the cross, that it's in self-sacrifice, it's in weakness that the true God is seen. And when you have faith in that God, then our lives are ordered in a proper direction.
So which is, out of these three, which is the faith that we ought to have?
Well, the goal's faith certainly is a rich, full understanding, full-bodied faith. But salvation often comes to people who don't know everything. They don't know much. They just know, they hear the words of Jesus, they respond, they're in. You don't have to earn your way to Jesus. So I got to develop faith here for the next 3 months, and then maybe I can be in. He accepts you when you enter, but invites you to continue growing. So the disciples at the wedding of Cana, they see the water turn to wine, and they're saying, wow, Jesus is a miracle worker. This is pretty cool. I want to follow him. And that's the right move to make. But they still at this point don't fully understand the cross and the implications that the greatest glory of Jesus is washing feet, not beating up Romans.
Yeah. So this nobleman comes to Jesus with an inadequate faith.
Yeah, his faith is just based on miracles. He says, well, if Jesus heals my son, then maybe I'll believe in him. But when he hears the words of Jesus, something changes.
And that faith changed. He went back with a different faith.
He no longer needs to see the miracle. He can even wander back the next day.
So he didn't have to see his child alive and well in order for him to have that experience, that what you call it, the full saving faith.
He knows that Jesus is who he is now.
Quickly, how do I know which faith I have? Can I know that?
That's an interesting and a very good question, because you see, this is John's expression, these three types of faith. Is that all there is to say about faith? Perhaps not. But that's a good curveball to ask, because it gets down to a very individual thing. How do I know that I am right with God? And I guess at the bottom line is the question, are you willing to accept him no matter what the price, no matter what the cost? Is there anything in your life that you would hang on to rather than grasp onto him? And I think saving faith happens when we say, I don't care this, that, I don't care if I lose my job, I don't care if I lose my life, my reputation or anything, I want what God has. And I think that is saving faith. If there's anything inside of us that's holding back, then it's some of this more shallow, more inadequate faith, I would say.
And another thing is that faith is not a permanent thing, meaning that I can have full saving faith today, but tomorrow I might not have it.
Well, that's a very interesting point, and John definitely speaks directly to that, because in the Gospel of John, faith is never a noun. It's always a verb, and it's a continuous verb. So faith isn't something, that you kind of throw at God. Okay, here, have my faith. Faith rather is a settled way of life. And the real definition of faith is trust. Do you trust God to do for you what you can't do for yourself? That's the core of what faith is all about. And trust really is a verb. It's a relationship. It's an ongoing thing. So John is not seeing faith as an idea. He's not seeing faith as a one-time act. I had faith. I know I'm saved now, see. But no, faith is a continual walking in relationship with God, a continual believing that He can do everything that you need. So for John, it's active. It isn't just a one-time thing.
Well, we also are going to talk about another miracle.
Pool of Bethesda.
All right.
That's
and
right.
we are in chapter 4 of the Gospel of John, and we are picking up in which verses now?
I think now we move to chapter 5.
Oh, we're in chapter 5.
And we get to the very first verse. So
and we are in verse 1.
Make that clear.
Thank you. After this, shall we read then?
Sure, go ahead.
After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool, which is called in Hebrew Bethesda, having 5 porches.
Why don't you stop there for
Sure.
a sec? Okay. So scholars doubted John for a long time because they know where the sheep gate is. There is no pool, you see. So how could this great big thing be here and we don't know about it? So scholars kind of doubted, but the gospel said it was there. And eventually the archaeologists found it underneath the neighborhoods and all that. Somebody came to discover, yes, there was once a great pool down here. There was even a church built over it a few centuries later to commemorate that. You can go visit it today. It's like 100 meters long, 70 meters wide, 40 feet, 12 meters deep. I mean, this is huge. And it had 5 porches. It's kind of like a figure 8. So you had porches on the 4 sides, and then down the middle it was separated into 2 pools. So today we know that the Gospel of John was grounded on accurate reality. And the name of this place is Bethesda, which means house of mercy. It's kind of like an ancient hospital. So read on.
In these lay a great multitude of sick people, blind, lame, paralyzed, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain time into the pool and stirred up the water. Then whoever stepped in first after the stirring of the water was made well of whatever disease he had. Now a certain man was there who had an infirmity 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there, and he knew that he had already been in that condition a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no man to put me into the pool whenever the water is stirred up. But while I'm coming, another steps down before me." Jesus said to him, "Rise, take up your bed, and walk." And immediately the man was made well, took up his bed, and walked. And that day was the Sabbath.
Okay, so here's this crowd of people around the pool. It's kind of an ancient hospital with an interesting type of triage. It's the least sick person that gets helped first. And this guy's been paralyzed. He'd been there 38 years, found no mercy at the house of mercy. Jesus comes in, picks a man out of the crowd. This man doesn't know him. This man doesn't express any faith in him. And Jesus heals him. It's a pure act of grace. And, I've experienced that from time to time. You wake up one day and you just realize, hey, God has touched me. My life is different. That's kind of what happened on this day. And it's the Sabbath day. And Jesus seems to deliberately, in the Gospel of John, heal on the Sabbath day, almost to make a point that the Sabbath day is there for doing good. Now continue reading up through verse 15.
The Jews therefore said to him who was cured, "It is the Sabbath. It is not lawful for you to carry your bed." He answered them, "He who had made me well said to me, 'Take up your bed and walk.'" Then they asked him, "Who is the man who said to you, 'Take up your bed and walk'?" But the one who was healed did not know who it was, for Jesus had withdrawn, a multitude being in that place. Afterward, Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, "See, you have been made well. Sin no more, lest the worst thing come upon you." The man departed and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had made him well.
I want to focus in on verse 14 here because it says something very powerful. Later, Jesus found him at the temple and said to him, "See, you are well again. Stop sinning, or something worse may happen to you." Now, English translation can't always pick up on this, but there are 2 ways in Greek to say this, "stop sinning," or as your translation said, sin no more. One is the aorist subjunctive, which basically means don't even think about it. You know, you're not there, but don't start. Okay? The other is the imperative present tense, present imperative, which is continuous. Stop what you're doing and what you have been doing these last 38 years. You see? So this man has been sinning for 38 years. How does a paralyzed man sin? Can he rob a bank?
No.
No. Can he commit rape? Would he even be accused of that? No, probably not. Can he kill people? No. So how does he sin? It's in the mind, you see. And here's the interesting thing. Jesus heals his body, but invites him to enter into relationship, a process to heal the mental, the emotional, and the rest of that. And so the idea of emotional healing is an important piece of this. And Jesus invites us into relationship to deal with the whole thing.
And here, a person then can be physically healthy but spiritually unhealthy. And here's a key lesson out of this, Dr. Pauline, that God is looking to heal us spiritually. He wants to search our hearts and cleanse us from any unrighteousness, any impurities that we might have. Well, friends, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.